Hi, my name's Keith Cooper of Northlight Images. Now, last year I looked at what the best printer for people to get into printing was, and I said it was the Epson ET-8550. But what has happened in the year since then, and would I change my mind? And no, I wouldn't. There you go. The big news is nothing has changed. Actually, that's not as bad as it seems. There are no new significant printers that would cause me to change my suggestion about the best printer for getting into photography printing, art printing, for example. It's not the best printer, but it's that. Now, I'll come back to some details as to why I say that still, what's changed, what's not, what else you might consider, a few maintenance tips, and basically a summary of what I think might be happening in the world of printers. Big spoiler really, not a lot, because printers are mature products. They don't change very fast. If you were to buy an 8550, and this is the one from Karen's office that I use for a lot of my testing, the good office printer as well. Now, I use this a lot, and this one's a few years old now. I originally tested it back in 2020, and yeah, it's the same printer. Now, it will have been improved over the years. All printers, or cameras, everything, they do improve internally. There are various adjustments and things, and manufacturing improvements and things like that. But it's still essentially the same printer. Is that not a problem? No, because it makes great prints. Now, I've got some test prints I've done here. I've done lots of things. I've got lots of videos looking at this and other printers, paper tests, all sorts of things like that, as to why I reckon it's still good. But printers last. There is nothing new, and unfortunately there is nothing expected. Now, if there is something expected, I don't know about it yet, which suggests that it's not coming imminently. I suspect we might see new printers in 2027, but if you are holding back, waiting for a replacement for this, thinking, oh, it's a bit old, don't. Get one or get a printer and get printing, because I've had lots of people say how getting one of these and some of the stuff I've done for it has helped them get into printing, and they have appreciated that once you start printing your images, you have an entire different element of your photography. And I've had a lot of people, and thanks for people who've contacted me, who've said that they've got into printing as a result of getting one of these printers, and it's really helped. Now, why this one? Now, I'll go some details. Have a look at the video I did. It's quite a long one last year, looking at all the details of this. Nothing's changed in it. So I put links to that and links to all the other resources I've got as well. Now, the key for this one is it's an ink tank printer. That means you just top up the inks when they run low out of bottles. That gets rid of, for a lot of people, the fear of ink costs. And it's the fear of ink costs, we'll gloss over the cost of paper for some reason, but it's the fear of ink costs that put a lot of people off using printers, and particularly put a lot of people off experimenting. And the key to getting good at printing is experimenting. You will make mistakes. You'll make lots. I make mistakes. I didn't go straight out and start producing pictures this size. There's a lot of work gone into that. Now, it's doable at this scale, and the nice thing about this printer is it goes up to A3+, that's 13-inch width, so you can print, say, 13 by 19. You can print big, long panoramics as well. Takes all sorts of papers, but the key is not only the fact that it's an ink tank printer, but it has a hybrid ink set. So it has dye inks, and people go, oh, a dye ink's not that good for proper printing. Well, that's largely marketing. If you really want, there are lots, and I'll mention some other printers, some better printers later, but if you really want stuff, I mean, this picture here, astronomical picture, on this metallic paper looks absolutely superb. It's printed on a metallic gloss paper using the dye-based inks, but this one also has a pigment black as well as a dye black. The pigment black is used if you use the VFA print mode. Now, to use that properly, you need a profile that's been made for it, and I have made well over 100 profiles. I put some links to all the stuff in that, and all my profiles I've made for all different papers are available. I just ask for a coffee donation for them if you find them useful. But we have black and white. Now this nice good solid paper, this one I can't remember which one it is. It is a 305 gram cotton rag paper, black and white print there. That was done on this. Now it's not perfect. Yeah, why would you expect? You can pay a lot more money for a printer if you really want to, but it is more than good enough for most people to produce prints, and I would be happy putting these on my wall. I would not have problems with these in terms of quality. Now, I mentioned other things. What about smaller, cheaper printers? Well, the Canon G-series, they're mega tank printers, unfortunately don't have printer drivers for Mac users like myself, and they're all a bit small, and the support of them, the software that supports them, is not that great. Yes, that. Also, there's a smaller version of this, an A4 version of it. The problem is, as I say, the Canon ones are all up to A4 size, so it's 8.5-inch letter size in the US. I quite like being able to do prints this size easily on a printer like this. It is a nice printer to use. I've got a much bigger printer sitting over there. Got a big Epson ET-8550 sitting over there. That's a big roll paper printer. Even bigger ink cartridges than the bottles for this, but it's years old, it's expensive, and you know, it also is so heavy I can't lift it on my own. If you really want something better in Epson, look at the P700, the P900, or if you want something that's built in the same chassis as that one over there, the P5000, the P5300, which I've tested. I've done detailed tests of all of these. The P5300 is rock solid. That will just churn out prints all day long. It's designed to be, it's a production style printer for that. In terms of Canon, there's now the Pro 310 with the Pigment Ink set, and the Pro 200S, which is essentially the same as the old 200. Those are good. Pigments in the 310, dyes in the 200S. Now the 200S with dye inks with good profiles will make pictures every bit as good as this. But 200S, you've got the cost of the ink cartridges, and people from Canon and Epson go, oh, people don't worry about that. Yeah, they do. You can make your printers as easy to use as you like, but if you're charging what feels, and it is about feeling, feels a lot for the inks, people won't want them. Now, quality wise, both of those printers, those two Canon ones, are superb. They have better, more reliable paper feed than this. Incidentally, on the paper feed from this, some of the thick art papers I've been testing really do not like going through the feed at the top here. They're just a bit too thick for it. And I made an adapter for it, and I've got to see using it. And the rear feed adapter is no more than this piece of wood with some rails on it. This clips onto the back of the printer and gets absolutely perfect feed through it. Now, it'd be nice if Epson made something like this, but in the meantime, I just got some bits of wood from a DIY store and a few bits and pieces. I've got a video on how to do it because I was testing the Canson range of fine art papers, and they're very nice, but most of them do not like easily feeding through the top slot here, so you have to use the rear slot. I said everything's not perfect. There's margins on the rear feed that might be, trailing margins that might be annoying, but you're getting a printer that is easy to use, easy to experiment with. As I say, there are other printers. You can go up to the Canon Pro 1100, which is a 17-inch printer, nowhere near as hefty as the big, as that 5000 or the 5300, and doesn't have roll paper support. So if you want roll paper support, go for the 5300. 900 plus the roll adapter, not so struck on it, but for the 5300, if you want roll paper with a cutter and a paper cassette that does A3 plus, well, actually it does A2 paper, there's good stuff there. Now, I mentioned maintenance on this. Basically, this goes for any printer. Use them regularly. I would say on this, try and use it for something, even if it's just a nozzle check every couple of weeks. It works as a great office printer as well. In fact, I only ever use the front feed tray here. This has got A4 plain paper, copier paper in it. It prints great on that. It's got a nice scanner in it and stuff as well. I put links to all of these various bits and pieces. So, as a summary, yeah, one of these, I use my own profiles. As I say, I've got well over 100 profiles for different papers and things, cheap ones as well as expensive papers. And, you know, it just works. I'm hoping that when something replaces this, it's even better, but it's going to be hard pushed. I can think of a few bits you could improve with this, the paper feed, for example, and a few bits like that. But in general, for making nice prints and getting into printing, I'm happy suggesting this. It's the first time I've ever had a printer that I would actually say, yes, get this one. Now, with caveats about what you want to do with it. But if I can produce prints, glossy prints like that, the metallic, and I can produce matte prints like that, and there is a brightly coloured flower. I did a video about reproducing real life colours and things. Stop waiting for something new. Get yourself a printer, start printing. The print is not the screen, and prints are real photographs. That's fairly real, but no, I want prints. I like prints. Anyway, if you've got any questions, please do let me know. I've got loads of stuff on this. See the references and the links. Thanks for watching. Bye.